on this story, we can bring in Yap Boum, epidemiologist and director of Epicentre Afrique. Thank you very much for joining us here on the program today. How will the building of this plant improve, Africa's reliance on vaccines, reduce rather Africa's dependence on imports?
Yes, actually, it's important to correct. It's really a dependence. You mentioned 99% of the vaccine are coming out of Africa. I think this is a very good news for us. I think we've been pushing for it, and now that the COVID is helping us, we hope that by having those plans by next year, we will be able to have the vaccine for COVID, but not only. I think that's an important achievement.
Do you think that if vaccines are produced on the African continent, this would increase the uptake of vaccines being distributed to the people? Because I just read the figures for the percentage of Africans vaccinated for COVID-19, and it's disturbingly low.
Yes, we were relying mainly on the COVAX mechanism, where the Western countries decided that they will support with around 20% of the dose given to African countries, for example. But one challenge that we face is that those doses for the AstraZeneca, for example, were produced by India. And then when India has the third wave, they were not able to produce for themselves and then for Africa. So having our own production in the continent will definitely make the dose more available. And the second point will surely reinforce the adherence, because there is an important vaccine hesitancy happening in the continent as you are speaking.
Okay, so there's a strong vaccine hesitancy. Now, I want to talk about India because, as you rightly said, India does manufacture a lot of vaccines for developing countries. But a lot of the vaccines which India does manufacture are generics. Isn't that something Africa should be looking at?
Yes, I think what we need, whether they are generic or whether they are brand-made vaccine, what we need are vaccines that are safe and that has a good efficacy and that are made locally. And made locally, we are not thinking about like African vaccine where the standard will be low. No, we really want to have the same standard, but to have the capacity to have our vaccine produced locally so that we can distribute them quite fast and not relying on what is happening out of the continent.
And do you think that if vaccines are produced on the continent, this reduces some of the other bottlenecks when it comes to distribution, etc.?
Definitely. When we consider all the logistic of bringing the vaccine in the continent, when you consider the taxes, the journey for those vaccines to arrive, and the cold chain, because we are talking about the RNA vaccine, they need -80. So it's a real challenge to ship those vaccines from out to in the continent. So having them locally, you reduce a significant amount of logistical challenges. So it's already an important factor that will make more available those vaccines that we have not been using in the continent because they were too expensive, one, but also because we did not have the cold chain that is required to use those vaccines.
Yeah, Boum, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us on the program today.